The World Summit started a week previous, and today, 23rd of April 2380, many are questioning the relevancy of this annual event. Still, news crews continue to gather and report on the little detail we have so far of what will come from this year's global gathering. Looking back at the transcripts from LRO reporter Angela Bravo establishes that maybe there was some life in the summit after all. 6:05 Central Standard Earth Time. Angela Bravo. It's week 2 of the World Summit, and though there have been whispers that they are getting ready to make a big announcement, no one has been able to wrangle even a hint of what the nature of this announcement is. One analyst speculates that the announcement is probably a publicity ploy to keep the media focused on the summit in a desperate attempt to keep it relevant. Even so, every day at 6 PM Central Standard Earth Time, the news org crews set up in the audience chamber and wait. No indication as to whether there will be an announcement or not. This has been going on for 8 days now. 6:28 Central Standard Earth Time. Angela Bravo. About 30 seconds ago, an aide entered the audience chamber and collected the news org crews. He's leading us somewhere deeper into the complex. Maybe the announcement isn't a publicity stunt after all. As you can see, we're being led into... This is the General Assembly. All of the delegates from all the governments in the world are still here. What is going on? 6:42 Central Standard Earth Time. Ivan Sang.
Thank you for your patience. If everyone can please begin transmitting, we will start. Good evening. It is an exciting time in human history. We stand on the threshold of a new era, where deep space exploration and colonization are not simply a possibility, they are a certainty. Advances in terraform technology and astro design are letting us travel further and further out into the cosmos. Scientists have discovered a pair of jump points in the Capsule system which, once crossed, will open up even more planets and systems for us to explore. The goal of this summit was to ask a question. It was not, where do we go from here? It was, how do we go from here? Expansion on this level cannot succeed with competing national, political, even commercial interests. Our personal squabbles seem insignificant with the breadth of space open before us. With that, the representatives of Earth have come together at this summit. We have debated and discussed, but concluded that if we are to set out into space, we must do so as a single, unified race. Therefore, we are announcing the intention to form a single governing body for this and all planets, the United Nations of Earth. Each of the government leaders before you will return with a referendum to their respective countries. There is a lot of work ahead. Many issues to address and resolve. We have a long road to building a stable, working government of this magnitude. Know this, we will get there. We will be fair. We will be united. Thank you, and good night.
And with that, our global leaders dispersed, and the UNE was born. We always wondered, since striking out into the universe, we felt awfully alone. Through discoveries of jump points, alien systems, it felt awfully lonely in the black. Now everything changes, because now we know. At approximately 3:13 Standard Earth Time, Vernon Tarr, a 36-year-old explorer, was scanning for undiscovered jump points in the Davian system. Drifting through the black with only the hum of his deep-range scanners to keep him company. Tar suddenly got a hit.
When you're in the quiet for that long, any kind of ping scares the hell out of you for a second.
Tar relayed via datacom.
So I checked my display and, well, it wasn't a jump point.
It was a ship. Initially thinking it was simply another explorer or a lost vessel, Tar barely acknowledged it.
I almost didn't want to look at it. I was sure it was some other jumper out there, looking for the same thing as me.
Only when the ship drew closer did he realise what he was looking at. The first member of an alien race.
After I got over my shock, I knew it was a delicate situation. We just stared at each other for a while.
Tar contacted UNE SOC and relayed his coordinates. A delegation party was quickly assembled and rushed out to the scene. Military forces were on hand in case they turned out to be hostile. The meeting lasted about 40 minutes. UNE forces were left to wait for a response from the alien race. Scientists are currently scrambling to devise programs to facilitate translation and communication, but after millennia of civilization, we can all say that they handled first contact with the grace and dignity of a truly advanced race. But was this the true nature of our first encounter with an alien race? A confidential report submitted to the HSOC Central by General Neil Sokolovich suggested otherwise, and that we had narrowly escaped a very different outcome. The following report has never been released to the public.
At approximately 3 o'clock this afternoon, first contact was established with an alien civilization in the Davian system. Here is an outline of what happened. Vernon Tar was searching the system for jump points when his systems picked up a contact. Assuming it was just another explorer, he opened fire before realising that it was, in fact, an alien vessel. He got scared and called it in. We isolated the comm to keep the lid on the situation and rushed to the scene as quick as we could and immediately enacted standard containment protocol and media blacks. As best as we could tell, the alien seemed shaken up and annoyed at being fired upon by Tar. We didn't want to press the issue, so we tried to calm Jerry down using pantomime techniques. Immediately notified the tech div to start working on some kind of translation device. Jerry let them record some of his language. We also ran curiosity scans of his ships. Nothing overt, as we did not want to arouse suspicion, but data is attached. We've released some info to the press and used one of our personnel to pose as Tar for the interview to make sure he towed the line. We don't think Tar will be a problem. We bluntly explained to him that if he keeps quiet, he gets to be the hero who made first contact rather than the idiot who nearly sparked the first interstellar war. Tar understood. In the meantime, we deployed scan arrays to Davian to keep an eye out, but we'll anticipate more contact in the coming days or weeks. I'm sure they're probably just as curious as us.
Turns out they weren't just curious. 2 weeks later they appeared again and established contact with Sokolovich. We finally managed to find a way to communicate with them, and in turn, we learnt their name. The Banu. We also learnt that they had gotten themselves involved in some questionable activity, embezzling funds, and were running from local officials. This worked out to our advantage though, and delegates from the UNE were able to keep calm the situation and building trust with our soon-to-be allies. In October of 2348, just 4 months after our initial encounter with the Banu, the two races signed the first interstellar peace and trade accord, working together on a mission to expand into the universe. However, back on Earth, the UNE had their own problems. In 2460, despite there now being an array of terraformed planets available for humanity to start afresh, and daily commercial flights ready and waiting to transport Earth citizens to a brave new world, Earth remained overcrowded. Humanity had dared to dream big, but now that dream was a reality. Those feelings of nervousness and apprehension took hold. Did we really want to give up our home? What would our new life be like? Would we have our home comforts? The RSI needed to do something to encourage Earth's citizens to take up the opportunities these new worlds offered, and so worked with Willet and Engo Advertising to provide citizens with some much needed motivation. The following is a message exchange between RSI employee Francois Kelson and Willet and Engo Advertising's representative Mark Carl. Hey Francois, legal has cleared the contract and the design team has signed the NDAs, so it looks like we're in business. Outstanding. When can we start brainstorming? We're at your disposal now. What sort of campaign were you thinking? Well, I don't know, you tell me. Off the top of my head, I think we play up to the feeling of opportunity. Earth will always be Earth, but we're kind of blasted the resources here. Indeed. You go to a new planet, the air will be cleaner. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Of course, I think there's something there. Everything's new. I mean, when was the last time you sat in a field? A real one? See what I mean? So it's the chance of rebirth, of starting over. It's about possibilities, the excitement of not knowing what to expect. But I don't want it to sound like it's savage. There is civilization and technology. Right, but there's space, room. Right. I want people to understand that they can have a new life. That's what the universe is offering us, a chance to start again. We want to give them the opportunity to realise that chance. These conversations led to the launch of the Air You Breathe campaign. This campaign has been yielded as the driving force behind convincing the apprehensive public to finally take the step towards their journey as star citizens. By 2516, 11 systems had been colonised by the UNE, and our ability to travel further and further meant that Earth was becoming a distant memory. Even with the use of jump points to travel quicker, having our operating base as this now distant homeland could begin to restrict our ability to expand further. Despite this, the UNE had an exploration project set up to continue efforts to find habitable planets in the eastern part of our universe. But this program may have just held the answer to a much more pressing matter. Wei Yin Song, the lead surveyor of the UNE's Project Farstar operation, sent a proposal through to the High Council detailing hope for a new planet, a new Earth that could place our home base much deeper into the universe.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, my current assignment is to seek out and classify new systems for prospective terraforming and exploration. The latest system, 342A, that my team and I have discovered is located in what can only be described as a confluence, a nexus. We have already discovered 4 jump points in addition to the one we entered through, with the possibility of a 5th on the horizon. I am attaching a current map of the system in question, with the zone still left for scanning, as well as the already discovered jump points. One of the planets, 342A.03M, is a super-Earth. Scans and scouting missions confirm the presence of a naturally oxygen-based atmosphere, indigenous vegetation, vast oceans, and temperature climates. Deep in the southern region, a scout team discovered remnants of a rock formation, indicating that they were arranged that way, but we have not discovered any indication of intelligent life. In short, I would like to suggest that 342A.03M be established as a forward operating base for terraforming and expansion into the adjoining systems. The team has named the planet Terra to honour its similarities to Earth. All of our current data and findings are included in this comm packet. I invite you to see for yourself. Sincerely, Wei Yin Song, Chief Surveyor and Engineer, Project Farstar.
The plan to run the Eastern Systems operations from Terra was approved by the UNE Congress. Over time, it has flourished and is described as a bigger, nicer Earth, and much more connected to our different star systems.
Welcome back to the hottest current affairs show on the spectrum, with our panel, Kyle Black, political analyst, Shieldy Chen, best-selling author and speaker, and Ben Feller, futurist. It's time for another Showdown!
So we're back talking about this new bombshell from the UNE. They're going to restructure to, what is it now? UPE? United Planets of Earth. What a ridiculous name. Come on. It makes perfect sense. We have a couple dozen planets that were all approaching Earth-sized populations with more on the horizon. These people need to be represented, and seriously, United Nations of Earth is a little outdated. From what we can tell, and they released a 1500-page dossier outlining the changes, so we're still shifting through the details, but it looks like the setup is pretty much the same. It is. The Congress will now be made up of delegates representing planets rather than the old outmoded nations. It's a better system. What do you think about these new figureheads? A high security who manages infrastructure, a high general for military, and a high advocate for law? When a government has to manage the sheer number of constitutes, that sounds like a great setup for fascism. Are you serious? Anytime you focus on power from the many into the hands of a few, someone's going to learn how to abuse it. And also, how the hell did Robert Thorne make High Advocate? The man is an idiot and should be thrown out of office by a mob, not promoted. He's not even a citizen. Oh stop, it's been proven time and time again that I don't buy it. His file could be doctored. Do you have any idea how easy? Look, if it's that easy to break into Fed databanks, then everybody's citizenship standing is suspect. How can I really know that you're a citizen? Hey, I served my time in the AF and did twice the necessary community service to earn my citizenship. Look it up, you. Right. Your parents didn't contribute at all. Shut your mouth, you. Stick around for more Showdown after these local commercials. We may have moved on from Earth, but some of our most human traits most certainly hadn't died out. Our competitive nature, our battle to be the first, the best, infamous, would yet again get us in deep waters. 2530, and planetary prospectors were a common occurrence in the verse, looking for unformed worlds to lay claim to. Nothing wrong there. The problem was, whilst most followed the federal protocols, others didn't. Take for instance, Gaia Planetary Services, GPS. In their haste to beat their competitors, they decided to begin to terraform Pallas 3 without proper authorization from the UPE, and without proper due diligence. Unbeknown to them, the Pallas system had already been occupied by another race, who were using it for their own research. As GPS's 276 strong crew landed and began to construct the terraformers, they were took captive by this alien species. Only one man, former Charles Baxter, was released as a gesture of goodwill, a sign that this race were open to reason. Fearful of the repercussions he may face for his company's breach of protocol, but eager to try and save his fellow crewmen, Baxter had little choice but to return to Earth and present his version of events to the UPE's subcommittee of senators, who had gathered to make sense of the situation. If everyone's set, Mr. Baxter, please begin. Tell us about the events of that day. I've been advised by the company's attorney.
Mr. Baxter, this is not a criminal hearing. We are simply trying to get a clear picture of what happened. There are still 275 of your colleagues held by an alien civilization. Any help you provide us today will be taken into account when this crisis is resolved.
We were surveying, looking for planet points to set up the equipment. There were 3 transports scheduled to land, so we were expecting to hear ships. I was up on the ridge when the first one came into view. I knew immediately it wasn't ours. Human, I mean. It didn't look like any Banu ship I'd ever seen. But you know how they are.
Please, stay on topic.
Well, next thing we knew, they were all over us. Ships coming from all sorts of directions.
Didn't you run scans before landing?
Not really. I mean, I don't think so.
Don't you think it would be wise before attempting to terraform a planet?
You don't know what it's like out there. You wait around too long, some other corp will swoop in and process that rock faster than you can blink.
Well, we appreciate your sociological insight, Mr. Baxter. We need facts, not hyperbole. If we're going to free the hostages...
General, we have not concluded that a military action is necessary.
I understand, but we need to have a plan on the table to enact should the diplomatic solutions go sour.
Agreed. Please continue, Mr. Baxter. It took 15 days to decipher a way to communicate with this new race. QPE military forces maintained a perimeter at the jump point entrance during this time, ready to strike if needed. We ascertained that they were known as the Xi'an, and they were very specific with their demands. Over 57 days passed, and the crew were finally released from Xi'an control. This encounter bore no resemblance to our first encounter with the Banu race. There was no peace agreement in sight on this occasion, and whilst we avoided an immediate interstellar war, relations were tense, and a 259-year Cold War would begin.